Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about the second song on my Numbers EP. It's called 3652. If you want to know about the EP and or the first song, there should be a video to it as well as the actual songs in the description and or recommended videos. I'm going to talk about the meaning of this song, why I wrote it, why it's important to the concept of the EP, and I'm going to explain a few lyrics because again, sometimes when I listen to my lyrics, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Samuel. 3652 is the number of the house that I grew up in. The meaning of the song is it's about how the future is more important than the past, and how the past shouldn't have any more power to control your future than you do. So aside from time, which I talk about in this project a lot, let alone in my videos, this song is about the place, the location, where you are at another time. It's all very psychological stuff. These are the numbers of your life, and this EP is only meant to really scratch the surface of them. For mine, I wrote this because personally, a lot of the memories that I have from 3652, which I find so almost worthless to think about, that they burn away like the wick of a candle flame. Like, I learned all the shit that I had to, and I'm on my way, so I'm not coming back to that house. Something I'm scared of is people telling me that I haven't changed. Like, I've listened to all these audiobooks, I've done all this work on myself, I've learned all these things, I've applied them and changed the way I feel about myself and the world around me, and others, and the way I treat it all, the way I carry myself, everything I possibly can. And people tell me, after years of having known me from the past, I'm so scared of the feeling I would get from being told,
"You're the same person you were when I used to know you."
All of that energy, all of that time, all of that money, it just feels like you threw it down the drain. But just thinking about my childhood makes me so uneasy because how much I'm convinced, at least, that I've changed as a person over the years, even when I try to appreciate it. And it's weird, you know? Do you guys ever feel that way? Like you've just changed so much that to think about where you were before is almost like a little uncomfortable. Not because it's traumatizing or anything, but it's just unsettling. Pause this video right now if you have to, and let me know in the comments if you have any experience with this or if it rings a bell. I feel like there's a lot of mutual power gained on both sides of a social exchange, even online, in knowing for certain that you are not the only one that something applies to. I suppose you can reframe it a little though, like, again, I'm grateful for it, but this song is meant to be more of a bittersweet blend of condescension and overcoming to that than an anthem of that gratitude, if you will. I feel like we all need something like that at some point in our lives, when reflecting on the past anyway. In this beginning of the first verse, I mentioned my background with music. Like, I did all this shit so people don't hear my music and they're like,
"I wonder how he got into all this. Like, what's the story about his music being entirely self-made?"
I try to squeeze out these details for anyone who listens and might find them interesting, and I try to make these videos for anyone who might find those interesting. It's like a lot of things in life, especially in 2019. You can go in as deep into it as you want. 8 years, 8 is another number. I'm throwing numbers at the listeners left and right in this project, and I want to stress, by the way, that that has nothing to do with math. In the end of track 4, which is literally called 1, I actually mentioned how I used to cry and have suicidal thoughts when trying to do my math homework in 11th grade because of my supposed inability to understand the material. Very weird stuff. The suicide and the crying, but also the math material. This EP is meant to be and sound very dark and nocturnal, not like my other ones. If you listen to its brother EP, or the previous EP, Letters, for example, Letters just screams emotion and color. This EP is rather cold-blooded, decisive, and calculated, and yet conscientious of the fact that it will never know everything there is to know about itself. But speaking of suicide, those other lines, I'm basically saying that depression, and any sort of dissonance I seem to have between my mind, my body, and the rest of the universe, they are a direct side effect of my creativity. Like, if I weren't as creative as I am, I wouldn't even think of suicide or self-harming like I used to in the past. You know, the past when I lived in fucking 3652, which I'm fucking never going back to because, you know, I learned all my lessons and I'm now on my way. Here I'm saying that the things beyond our natural selves are being used by our natural selves to extend parts of our natural selves onto that of each other in ways that couldn't happen without the use of unnatural shit like computer coding, for instance. A lot of this sounds incredibly spacey, but I feel like it's either true or becoming true. There's no way it's not going to become true in the future, because even in the most beneficial future of mankind, depending on how everything turns out, this will need to occur to some degree. In the third verse, I get very granular and open about crazy topics as we transition into track 3, which is called 5069. So that's what I have to say about my song 3652. If you guys haven't heard it or the EP, it can be found somewhere around my face right now. Let me know what you guys think of it. Let me know what you guys have to say about it. Any feedback is appreciated.